Jaya Jaya Jagannath Satchidananda Jaya Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jaya Jagannath Satchidananda Tribhuvane kore jan charana vandana Tribhuvane kore jan charana vandana Tribhuvane kore jan charana vandana All glory to the son of Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi. All of the three worlds, they pay obeisance unto you. Nilachale Shankha Chakra Gada Padmadara 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 Nadiya Nagare Dandan Kamadalukara Nadiya Nagare Dandan Kamadalukara Nadiya Nagare Dandan Kamadalukara Nadiya Nagare Dandan Kamadalukara In the beautiful place of Nilachal Dham, he is holding the fork, the conch shell, the disc, the lotus flower, and the club. But yet, the same personality, when seen in Nadia, in his hands there is the water pot and the danda. It is said that in the olden times, many millions of years ago, he came as a killer of the Ravana demon. But yet, in the beautiful land of Goloka Vrindavan, he manifests his splendorous, loving pastime. Shri Radha Bhave Gauraya Bhata Shri Radha Bhave Gauraya Shri Radha Bhave Gauraya Bhata Shri Krishna Assuming the mood and luster of Srimati Radharani as a Gaura avatar, he performed the actions of preaching of the Sankirtan movement and of inaugurating the Yuga Dharma of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Vasudeva Gosha Bole Gosha Bole Kori Jodat Kori Jodat Vasudev Gosha Bole Vasudev Gosha Bole Kori Jodat Vasudeva Ghosh, he says with his holy hand that it is the same Gaura who is the same as Krishna and who is the same as Jagannath. Jai Krishna, Jai Jagannath. Jai Krishna, Jai Jagannath. Jai Nitai Gauranga Gaurari, Nitai Gauranga Gaurari, Nitai Gauranga Gaurari, Nitai Gauranga Gaurari, Jai Gaur Pramanande. So thank you very much. That bhajan is very nice because especially within ISKCON and in general within our Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage, we take all three of these principal forms of the Lord and we worship all of them. So you will find all of these forms in the UK. You'll find all of them in London. You'll find Krishna, we have in 2 temples. You'll find Jagannath in Soho, and you also find Gaurita here.
Haribo.
Okay, so let me just bring. Can someone bring this? Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Thank you. That is when we read from Chaitanya Charitamrita or related texts, and sometimes we use that as an invocation. We have our traditional invocation, which is the Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're going to be hearing about the importance of Jagannath, the importance of Ratha Yatra, and how it connects with the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. So, let's see here. Somehow the notes disappeared, I don't know where, but I know roughly. So where is it? They disappeared. Okay, there we go. So first of all, I would like to start by reading some quotes by Srila Prabhupada on this topic of Ratha Yatra. So there are 3 quotes which I have picked up. So the first one is from 1969, January, in Los Angeles. Anybody been to Los Angeles? Anybody? Anyone know? So that is one of the principal locations in which the Hare Krishna movement was started. Originally it started in New York, but Los Angeles was soon after that. Montreal, Boston, certain locations, San Francisco. So this was in 1969. So Srila Prabhupada arrived in 1965 to America. So this was just, by 1969 already there was a few centers and some few hundreds of devotees. From our practical experience, we can say we got this chance. We got this chance. We got very nice parents. And I was born in a family, a very pure family. And of course, in those days, they were rich also. We had Radha Krishna Murti Seva. So from the childhood, I was taught. Not taught. I asked my father that please give me this Radha Krishna Murti. I shall worship. And my father encouraged me. And I was performing this Ratha Yatra festival. My father encouraged. So this means that I got this chance again. So this is a very important point, because Prabhupada's father, he was called Gaur Mohan Dey. So they came from a more aristocratic family, and he had a very beautiful house. Anybody seen the Abhay Charan TV series that Bhakti Chaudhary Maharaj made? So if you haven't seen it, you're very strongly encouraged to watch it. It was an ISKCON classic, but the younger generation may not be aware. But when I was a kid, we watched that. So you can also see Prabhupada's childhood pastimes in that video. And they used to have a courtyard, and they had also one space dedicated for temple worship. His father was very dedicated devotee of the Lord, and he was very happy that his son was inclined spiritually. His mother, she wanted him to be devotee, but she was more concerned about his material needs, especially about money and such affairs. But his father, when he said to him, he said, I'm happy as long as my son becomes a great devotee of Radharani, regardless of the material circumstance he may encounter himself in. So he encouraged Srila Prabhupada, and when he was a young boy, he did his first Ratha Yatra festival. So imagine, from a very young age. This is actually 2 years before that, in 1967, in San Francisco. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Yada ati harshot pulakarshu gadgadam. He became so glad that he's faltering in speaking. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was dancing in Jagannath Puri during the car festival and was singing, he could not utter Jagannatha. He was uttering Jaga, Aga, like that. He was faltering. These signs are that. They become at once transferred to the spiritual atmosphere and platform. These are very higher stages. So today is a very nice auspicious day. On this day, Lord Krishna, when he was present on this earth, he attended a solar eclipse ceremony at Kurukshetra, and Krishna, along with his brother Balarama and Subhadra, sister, came to visit the Kurukshetra field. That Kurukshetra land is still present in India. If someday you'll go to India, you'll find that Kurukshetra land is there. So this Ratha Yatra ceremony is performed in commemoration of Krishna's visiting Kurukshetra with his brother and sister. So I don't know if any of you have anyone been to Kurukshetra? Few of you? So I believe it was last year or the year before, maybe somebody knows more clearly, but they just built a very large ISKCON temple and inaugurated it in Kurukshetra. Anyone know exactly? Okay, yeah. My father was there, I think this year. I think it was 2 years ago. Very big temple. So Srila Prabhupada wanted a temple there also for this reason. So in the first quote we're hearing how not only for our own bhakti is very important, but Srila Prabhupada wanted to worship Radha and Krishna both at home, but also take Radha and Krishna out. Take Jagannath, Baladeva and Subhadra Maharani out on the street. So this is the first lesson we can learn from this quote. The second one is that also Ratha Yatra festival is not just for people to see, it's not just a way that the public can see Jagannath, but it's also a very esoteric, it's also a very internal festival. Therefore, when Lord Chaitanya was there, he was Gadgada, his voice was cracking and he was losing his ability to speak clearly because he was feeling symptoms of ecstasy. So this is the other point about Ratha Yatra. Externally there is benefit for everybody and everyone can take darshan, they get liberated, all of their karma becomes cleansed. But internally we should also be developing this mood which we will hear about later, how it will become an ecstasy when we see Lord Jagannath. And this is the last quote, much shorter, from San Francisco Ratha Yatra, 1971. So, Lord Jagannath, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was in ecstasy. He was in the mood of loving spirit like Radharani. So he was thinking, Krishna, please come back again to Vrindavana. So he was dancing before the Ratha Yatra. So sometimes people, they ask that we generally worship Radha and Krishna, right? So why is it that we see Jagannath, Baladeva and Subhadra Maharani, but there's no Radharani? The reason is because they're in forms of ecstasy, because they're connected to Srimati Radharani and they're connected to Vrindavan. So there's different leelas connected to Jagannath, which you don't have time to say all of them. One is how the Jagannath deities were carved in Puri. Then another one is why they're in ecstasy form, which was in Dwarka. And there is another pastime. There are many Jagannath pastimes. And another one is when they came during the solar eclipse, as Prabhupada was mentioning, in Kurukshetra. Then the Brijavasis, especially Srimati Radharani, they were all in great mood of lamentation and mood of separation from Krishna. And they finally got the chance to see them in Kurukshetra and they wanted to bring them back to Vrindavan. So this great mood of longing is how Srimati Radharani is also connected to Jagannath, Baladeva and Subhadra Maharani. So we can make quickly some invocations. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschachade Sutarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaur Bhaktavinda. So you can all please repeat. Nilachale Nivashaya
Nilachale Nivashaya
Nityaya Paramatmane
Nityaya Paramatmane
Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam
Balabhadra Subhadraya
Jagannathaya Te Namaha.
Jagannathaya Te Namaha.
So this is one of the different invocations. This is addressing all three of the deities. You also have separate for each of the three deities. And this one is addressing that Lord Jagannath. He's always residing in Nilachala, in Jagannath Puri, and he's the Paramatma, he's the soul, super soul within everyone's heart, accompanying everyone at all times. And Balabhadra, he's the most auspicious because he is taking charge of the potency of the Supreme Lord for creating and manifesting everything. So Balabhadra Subhadra Abhyam, and Subhadra Maharani also is there. Jagannathaya Te Namaha. So we pay our respects to all three of them. So this is very useful pranam mantra to learn, especially on the day of Rath Yatra. I don't know, has Mahavishnu Maharaj ever come to Crawley Rath Yatra?
Not Crawley Rath Yatra.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think he's always away. It's normally always August, September, right? Yeah, he's not in England at that time. But normally, the reason I know this pranam mantra is because he will make sure every Rath Yatra people sing that pranam mantra. So this is a very important mantra, so everyone can learn it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So when we think about Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, can everyone just raise their hand and share one word about what comes to mind when you think of the Jagannath Rath Yatra festival? Yeah?
Eyes, as in the Lord's eyes.
Eyes, the Lord's eyes, beautiful, yeah? Behind you? You put your hand up. Don't all go at once. Any other thoughts? Yeah. Merciful? Yeah.
Putting the Lord back in the heart.
Yeah?
When you putting
Oh yeah, putting the Lord back in the heart. Wonderful. Somebody else?
Always watching you.
Always watching you. Yeah.
the size.
The size, yeah. Jagannath's big deities.
He is so merciful, so he wants to see all the devotees, so he is coming out to see us.
Yeah, he's coming out to see us. Wonderful. Any last one?
When we grow the streets for him, so we becoming a servant of Lord Jagannath.
Yes, very nice. So that's also very important. So actually that is because in the time of Lord Chaitanya, the king also came out and he was sweeping. And sometimes we have also our councillors and our mayors and our leading politicians. This year anyone's coming, do you know? Sometimes we have, right? Well, she came I think before, I remember. Some other years. Croydon also they come.
We usually have someone from the council that does come, but not for the last few years.
Yeah.
Because we've had a stop-start for the last few years because of COVID,
yeah.
and the Queen passed away.
Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah. We just had Liverpool Rath Yatra yesterday. So I think it was a mayor, him or her. There were two politicians. One was an Indian man and then an English lady. And one was the mayor and one was some other councillor. I don't know all the names. But so this is also important that we invite these kind of personalities to come and help. Just like we had Maharaj Pratap Rudra. So in the modern age there are many people who are leading society. Although we have to sometimes add the prefix Miss in front of the word leading. But at least you can say, by serving Jagannath, they are taking the right step in the right direction. So the importance of Rath Yatra, first of all, is that the Lord is coming, so people can take darshan of the Lord, and the Lord can give His merciful glance upon them. And by seeing the deity of Jagannath, especially by pulling the ropes, and by chanting and dancing, then one will actually clear all of their sinful activities. Generally we think it's very hard, right, to clear sin. Especially in Christianity, you see in Orthodox, especially in Greece and some different monastic areas, they do all types of extreme methods of clearing sin, such as whipping their back and so many things, extreme austerities. We also find that within Vedic culture. If you go especially to the Himalayas and other places, they do all types of extreme austerities to clear their negative karmic reactions, and also to clear their vasanas, to clear the impressions in the mind, to create detachment. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna doesn't actually care if we have millions and millions of karmic points in debt in our spiritual bank account. Krishna is very happy to immediately delete everything like that, as long as we are willing to serve him. So this is the mood of Lord Jagannath, that although we have maybe done millions of years of horrible, nasty activities in the material world, nowadays people think we're all very innocent, right? People are like, oh, I'm so innocent, I just woke up, I watched a bit of TV, I had some lamb chops, I had a coffee, I went to work, and then I came home, right? We think we're very innocent. I didn't punch anyone in the face, I didn't steal anything, I didn't covet anyone's wife, I didn't blaspheme, the Bible or something. So we have this idea of morality which is very useless actually, because it's not in reference to the authorized scriptures. Therefore it's explained that Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrik Vidimbina Akantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpataya Kalpate, that whatever way of living, whatever lifestyle we have, which is not in line with the Shruti, the Smriti, the authorized scriptures, then it simply is a disturbance in society. So modern society, they don't realize, but they're actually the most sinful so far in the history of the world. Because before, even the clothes we wear, they're full of synthetic material, right? So now it's almost impossible to get water anywhere in the world without microplastics. So every time we wash our clothes, we're creating sin because we're polluting the water. And especially, there are many rivers which are holy rivers. And especially, also that the ocean is connected to those. So whatever pollution we make is all connected. So it's all, and then not only that, but people are eating all nasty things. And even if they're vegan, generally we think, I'm vegan, I'm the best, right? People think. So even if you're vegan, we're still destroying the environment. Just like to produce one avocado, they have to destroy so much great forested area in the Amazon or other places to grow avocados. And they use a very huge amount of fresh water. But then in order to do that, we have the opportunity cost is that there are many people who don't have access to free water, to fresh water, right? Clean water. So everything we do in Kali Yuga, because of capitalism, because of greed, because of overconsumption of resources, is creating so much sin and so much negative reaction. Just when we walk down the street and we buy something, we say, I'm just going to go and buy chocolate. But if you think about it, deforestation is one of the greatest disasters on the planet, and what are the four main causes? Soya, right? So either soy you give it to animals, especially for meat eating, or if we're eating soya chunks, anybody like soya chunks sabji? Or if we like cacao, coffee, and the last one is palm oil. These four are the four most destructive things in society to the mother nature. So it becomes very complicated because every breath we take and every step we make in Kali Yuga, we're doing so much negative things and creating so much sin and affecting the planet negatively. But Lord Jagannath is so kind that not only in this life, but all of the lives we've been in the material world, the word used actually in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is Anadi. We've been here since time immemorial. We do not know. Anadi Karma Phale, Prabhupada used to sing that bhajan of Narottam, that we're simply caught by the noose of karma since immemorial time, since there's no beginning, uncountable beginning. And now we come and all we have to do is chant and dance in front of Lord Jagannath, pull the rope and everything becomes deleted immediately. Imagine if you have Hitler, right? Hitler comes to Ratha Yatra and he's killed how many millions of people? No one knows the exact number. Hitler, Stalin and Mao, all of these people. But all they have to do is just chant and dance in ecstasy in Ratha Yatra and Krishna forgives them. Imagine how merciful is Lord Jagannath. So even we're not that merciful, right? If somebody just offends our family member, even if they go to 50 Ratha Yatras, we won't forgive them. Somebody offends me, maybe 100 Ratha Yatras. So that's the nature of this world. But Lord Jagannath, he does not care so much about him being offended. But he's very, very careful that his devotees do not become offended. But whatever you do in this material world, whatever sin you do, Jagannath, if you chant sincerely at Rath Yatra, he is so kind and merciful that he says, okay, I will clear all of your karmic record for you. So then once they asked Srila Prabhupada that if Jagannath is so kind that he does that, then why is it that many people go to Rath Yatra but then they again have some issues? And then Prabhupada says, because Krishna may clear your negative karma for you, but still if you do not change your consciousness, then your proclivity to sin is still there. So you may again fall into these sinful activities. So that is why it's not enough simply to see Jagannath, but you have to hear from Jagannath. You have to hear from Krishna, you have to hear from Lord Chaitanya. So this is the point, that we're coming to Rath Yatra to see Jagannath. Ultimately we are not actually seeing Jagannath. Jagannath is seeing us. This is what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he described as Drik, Drishya, Vichar, the seer and the seen. So who is the subject, who is the object? So the object means secondary. Object means inferior, right? In a hierarchy of grammatical terms, right? So we cannot say we are coming to see Jagannath, because who are we to see Jagannath? But at the same time, in our mood, I want to see the Lord, right? Ultimately, the Lord is seeing us, and if He sees that we are sincerely chanting and sincerely serving, just like we have a Pandava Sena tent. So who's in charge? Manjari, you? You're in charge, is it? So we have the Pandava Sena tent, we have who's in charge of Prasad, who's going to cook, who's the head chef? Maybe not here today.
Parshuram will be cooking.
Oh yeah, Parshuram will be here, that's true.
And Lord Himanji.
Yeah. And who is in charge of making sure there's flowers and fruits and so many things for Jagannath? Ishwari Mataji?
She's not here.
Okay, no problem. So everyone has a specific service. So Jagannath, when he sees us doing this service, then he becomes very pleased and he gives us very deep blessings. Of course, as devotees, we are not coming to Rath Yatra simply to take darshan and pull the chariot and get our karma deleted, isn't it? We're not looking for that delete button on the keyboard. Why are we coming? We're coming so we can learn how to love again. We're learning how to chant with feeling, because ultimately, as we know, Krishna is not looking so much for the action that we're doing, but He's looking for the offering behind the action. Once they asked Srila Prabhupada, they said to him that how come Krishna seems very vain? Because He always wants us to chant His name. He says, Satatam Kirtyanto Mam, always chanting about me. Then He says that worship me, offer fruits unto me, so many things He says in Bhagavad Gita, right? So why is Krishna so vain that He wants to hear His name all the time? Sounds strange, no? Like, what's your name, Prabhu? I already
Ronnie.
forgot. Huh?
Ronnie.
Ronnie, right? So, Ronnie doesn't say, everyone please chant my name, right? Otherwise he would look like a really vain guy, right? But we know Ronnie is very sweet, he's not vain at all.
We actually do chant his name.
Some of the guys might, but
Jaya Ronnie. So Krishna, they asked Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna doesn't care if you chant His name or not, but what Krishna wants is that when you chant His name, He wants to taste that love. He wants to taste that feeling of emotion. That's what Krishna is looking for. Just like the father. So, if you have a son, and you give the son 10 pounds, right? You say, it's my birthday, here's 10 pounds, you can get me something for my birthday. And then the son buys you a gift. So he buys you, I don't know, he buys you like a book or something. So the father doesn't need the book, he could have bought it himself, right? He's the one that gave the money, and he knew the child is going to go shopping to get the book for him. So, but what does he want to see? He wants to see that loving exchange. So the gift is not the main thing, or the holy name which we're chanting. It's not that Krishna is so vain, he needs to hear His name. Krishna wants to feel the love, and by chanting His name with devotion, then Krishna can feel that loving relationship. So that is the only thing Krishna needs from us. He doesn't need anything else. So we should not come to Rath Yatra as devotees in the mood of clearing our karma. We should already be beyond that point. But what we should understand is why we should invite new people to Rath Yatra and try to engage the public in Rath Yatra is because it's very beneficial for them to help to clear their karmic reactions. And by clearing their karmic reactions, Krishna explains that Yesham tu antagadam papam jananam punna karmanam bhajante maam jidavata. By clearing the karma, then we come to Brahma Bhuta stage. We come to the spiritual platform, And on that platform, that's really where bhakti begins. Na sochati na kamshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. Then we understand that this bhakti yoga is the topmost. Then we're no longer doing the, you know that game pinball? We're no longer doing the karmic pinball anymore. But we're actually trying to act on a platform of love and relationship with Krishna. So this is really why we're coming to Jagannath Rath Yatra festival. Not only that we want to see the Lord, but we want to be seen by the Lord, and we want to chant and please the Lord in order to get His blessing, how to advance in bhakti. So it's explained that at the end of Kali Yuga, at the end of Dwapara Yuga, that Krishna left after the Kurukshetra battle. Then many different leelas happened. Even the Yadu dynasty did self-destruct mode, so they fought each other because nobody could conquer them. So the only ones who could kill them were each other. So they had a very interesting leela, how the Yadus left. And then Krishna left. And it's explained that Krishna Swadam Mudbhagate Jnanani Visaha Kalo Nashta Drishamesha Puranarko Adunodita. That Krishna left, and with him he took all of the auspicious elements of the previous yuga with him. But he left one very special gift. It's not that he took it, but that's the nature of Kali Yuga, that we don't have that. So automatically they left with him because they had nowhere to go. So he left one very special gift, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam and this Bhagavad philosophy. So not only he spoke Bhagavad Gita and other texts, but he also gave the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is Nashtarisham. Although in Kali Yuga we cannot see anything, we have a lack of vision. Puranarko Adunodita. This Purana of the Srimad Bhagavatam is like Arka, is like the sun. It lights up the age. So in Kali Yuga we're in a very difficult situation that we want to see Jagannath, but at the same time the Kali Yuga is characterized by Nashta Drishti, that a lost vision, inability to see. And not only that, but it's explained that Prayane Alpa Ayusha Kalavasmin Yugejana Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Hyuparuta. That in Kali Yuga we are described that our life is very short. Alpa Ayusha. And not only that, but we are Manda Sumanda Matayo. We are very blind people, and we are being led by people who are even more blind. So what is the nature of this age? That we are so blind that we are following the blind and falling in the ditch with them. And not only that, but our intelligence, Manda Bhagya, and our fortune, our good luck, everything is very bad in this age. We have bad luck, we have bad fortune, we're always in unlucky situations. And not only that, but we have a tendency to become cheaters and corrupted. So this is the nature of Kali Yuga, that although we want to see the Lord, how can we see the Lord? There are so many disqualifications. So that is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, that how can you see the Lord? Not simply only by going to Rath Yatra and trying to open the eyes, you know. Anybody, you have glasses, right? So it's not that you just put on your glasses and then you can see Jagannath, right? So what does it explain in Srimad Bhagavatam? That this is the Shruta Ikshita Pantaha. This is the path of seeing via the ears. This is the path of hearing in order to see the Lord. So we do not try to see the Lord, but we act in a way that the Lord will want to see us. And especially when we hear properly, then we know how to glorify the Lord properly. So it's explained that when we hear about Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, about the glories of Lord Jagannath, what is the mood we should have when we hear? Sometimes we're listening out, what are the good jokes that the speaker is going to make? What are the interesting acronyms that the speaker is going to make? What are the interesting stories relating to Rishi Sunak and who's the current guy? I forget the name already.
Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer. Right? So about the conservative and liberals, what are the interests? No, we should be hearing how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains with a service-inclined ear. So our mood when we're hearing is we should be hearing that I would like to do some service for Lord Krishna. Let me hear how I can improve in my service. And this is the way we can have the Shruta Ikshita Pantaha. The way of seeing the Lord, seeing Lord Jagannath through the ears. And what is the way to hear, to see through the ears? In what kind of inclined ear? Service inclined ear. So this is very important. So therefore when we pray that Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. This is not just a default mantra. Sometimes we have a default mantra, right? We don't even think, we just chant. But actually this mantra is very deep. Because we are all covered. Not only we have heard we are Manda Sumanda Mateo, we are the blind leading the blind. Not only have we heard that the nature of Kali Yuga is that it's a Nashta Drishti, that there is a darkened vision in Kali Yuga. But not only that, but we have the Agyana Timira problem. So Om Agyana Timirandasya. Timira Andha means the night blindness. It doesn't mean that you're permanently blind, that you need to have some surgery on your eyes or something. But Timira Andha means that when it's dark, you cannot see anything. So everyone has that night blindness, right? That issue in the modern age especially. So the older we get also, our vision becomes weaker and weaker. But even if you're a young child, who is the youngest in the room here? I think the boy there. What's your name? Your name?
Me, my name's Sean.
Him. He's the second youngest. Your name? Ryan. So Ryan, can you see when the lights are off? If there are no windows and it's night time, can you see with the lights off? What do you think, Ryan? Okay, have a think about it. Let me know at the end of the class. Right? So no problem, no rush, no pressure. Put him on the spot there. So even the youngest child with the most fresh, healthy eyes, we cannot see at night. So in the same way, the nature of Kali Yuga, because it's Nashta Drishti, we cannot see anything. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the things, Arka, which lights up the night sky. But what is the other thing? The Guru. Therefore it's explained, Jnananjana Shalaka. So with the knowledge, with the torchlight of knowledge. Actually what the technical word is, Shalaka means, so anybody had a grandparent that had cataract surgery, anything like that? Like my grandmother had. So you have to do a certain surgery, and there is a certain tool in Ayurveda which is called Shalaka. It's like a Q-tip which you use to operate on the eye. How do you say that in British English? You don't say Q-tip, right? Cotton bud, right? So I've been in America too long. I don't know why they call it a Q-tip. It doesn't make sense. So you have a cotton, what do you call it? Cotton. Yeah. So you put that in the eye and you clean the eye, and then you can see. So that's what the Guru does. With the Shalaka of knowledge, he cleans our eyes so we can see again. So Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitamena, and then our eyes become illumined. Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha. So not only is it very important in order to see Lord Jagannath, we have to hear properly, but we have to also serve and learn from a Guru. So this is the importance of. So Srila Prabhupada once explained, because if you remember in the beginning I was mentioning there is external reason we do Rath Yatra and there is internal reason why we do Rath Yatra. So can anyone raise their hand, what was the external reason why we do Rath Yatra? Yeah?
Was it to get rid of karma, right?
Many, yeah, that's one, but give a bit more. So because we want to other people to see Lord Jagannath, so Lord Jagannath can go to them. And another reason why, because we can chant and dance in front of the deity on the street. So this is the external reason why we have Jagannath Rath Yatra festival. So those of you who are interested in ISKCON history, which I hope is all of you, because we're in the ISKCON project right now. So there was a very amazing team of young monastic devotees, which was called the Radha Damodaras Traveling Sankirtan Party. Anyone heard of them? So there are two books of around 600-700 pages, which are called Radha Damodara Vilas by Vyasaki Prabhu, and is explaining the Leela with this particular Sankirtan party. So in their peak, they had around 10-15 buses, and around 20 vans, and around 200-300 brahmacharis, and they were traveling all around America, distributing books, chanting the holy name, holding festivals, and they were making hundreds and hundreds of devotees. So when Srila Prabhupada saw Vishnu Jana Swami do this party, he said to him, yes, I am very pleased. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, I think the letter was actually to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So he said to him, yes, I am very pleased that you have understood this principle of bringing the temple to the people. The reason why the deities of that party were called Radha Damodara was they were called, I forget, Radha Govinda or a different name. And Prabhupada renamed them to Radha Damodara because they were on a bus, and the bus was a traveling temple. And later they had, I don't remember the number, I think 15 buses or something. So each bus was a temple. So one of the buses had Radha Damodar deities, and the reason Prabhupada named them as such, renamed them as such, was because they were on a bus, so they had to be tied around the waist to a post so they don't fall over. Because if the deity falls over, it's a very grave offense. So you have to be very careful. So they tied them very tightly around the waist so they don't move and they don't shake around. So that's why, because Damodara means one who's tied around the belly. So this particular party, Prabhupada said that I'm very, very happy that you have understood this mood of Lord Chaitanya, that in Kali Yuga people will not come to the temple, therefore we must bring the temple to them. So this is the mood of the Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, that Lord Jagannath, he may not be accessible to everyone, especially in the Jagannath Puri temple. That's another lecture we can talk about another time. But there are some restrictions who can enter based on misinterpretation of the scriptures. So traditionally it was because anyone who was in India, they were generally following Vedic culture. So followers of Vedic culture and devotees of the Lord, they are allowed to enter. But then they started to judge what is a devotee based on race and externals rather than the lifestyle and the sadhana and the practice of the individual. So Jagannath, to take darshan in the temple is not easy. If many of you go and you speak English, they'll maybe kick you out or beat you up. Two options. Does anyone know Nithai Kirtan, Prabhu? So Nithai Kirtan went, actually maybe this, I shouldn't say on the mic. He went and they heard him speaking with an English accent and he got in big trouble, let's put it that way, in the Jagannath temple. So even if you're from an Indian origin, even we're officially not allowed to go in, officially. But if you can say Kemcho, Madama, then they may let you in. Speak some Gujarati, Hindi or Telugu or something. So Jagannath may not be accessible for everyone, but why? Jagannath comes out, so he can then be accessible to everyone. So this is the mood of the Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, that in Kali Yuga people are not inclined to go to the temple. Just like in England, they say, if you want to get a break from the society, just go and sit in a church, no one will bother you there. Because nobody goes to church, right? So this is the nature of the modern age. You have thousands of churches in the UK, they're all empty. And the only time they're not empty is on Christmas, when people want to have one or two sing songs and then they leave after 1 hour. So what is the point of temple in Kali Yuga? Luckily our ISKCON temples are quite packed, especially in the UK, especially the Mana. But normally a religious institution is not such a popular thing. So therefore the Lord, being so merciful, he says, okay, I have such a nice house and I've invited everyone to come to my house, but people don't want to come to my house. So let me go and meet them where they are. So this is the mood of Jagannath Rath Yatra festival. And the external reason why Lord Jagannath comes out, this is that reason. And therefore, what is the mantra we sing? Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me. So anyone knows what it means? That you should know. Anyone can raise their hand? Otherwise we're singing it, but we don't know what it means. It might mean, Lord Jagannath, please take away my bank balance and my car. You don't know, right? Can anyone say, what does it mean? So it's saying that Jagannath Swami, Nayana means the eyes, right? So Nayana Pata means the path. Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. So please become manifest in my vision. That please manifest yourself to me. So it's not wrong that we want to see Jagannath, because that's what we're taught to pray. But we want to see Jagannath so that we can be seen by him as well, and then we can become of service to him. So this is the external reason why Rath Yatra is so important. And what is the third point? One point is we can see the Lord through Shrutekshita Pantaha, via Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we can see by the mercy of the Guru. And what is the ultimate way? Is by developing prema. So by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, under the guidance of the Guru, then we can develop prema. So this is the third stage of this understanding. And therefore, what does it say in Brahma Samhita? Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achintya gana swarupam govindamadi purusham tamam bhajami. So we can see the Lord when our eyes are tinged with the salve of love. Prema Anjana Churita. With that special treatment. Just like the Guru, he uses the cotton tip in our eyes, the shalaka, and he cleans our eyes so we can see with the knowledge. Similarly, when we develop prema, then our eyes become tinged with that salve, with that special ointment of love. And then Santa Sada Hridayeshu Vilokayanti, and the Lord is always present in our heart. So we can actually always have the vision of the Lord in our heart. Just like we may come and take darshan of Bodhitai. Do they have a special name here, specific name? Nitai Gauranga, yeah. So when we leave, we may be sad, right? Oh, I can't see Nitai Gauranga anymore. I have to wait until next Sunday, right? Actually, next Sunday is Yatra, right? So we may feel sad when we leave the temple. Oh, I cannot see the deity anymore. But actually, when we come to that level of prema, we can see the Lord always within our heart with that prema anjana churita. So why is Jagannath Rath Yatra so important? One is so that we can see the Lord can see us, the Lord can bless us, and we can advance in spiritual life. But even deeper than that, what is the meaning of prema? Prema means to develop this type of bhakti which was espoused by Lord Chaitanya. So the internal reason is also very, very important. So I will share with you briefly, we already discussed briefly the part in Kurukshetra, right? So, yeah, they came from Dwarka, Krishna and his entourage, and the Vijayavasis also came. It was an eclipse. So it's a very auspicious place to be in Kurukshetra during the time of an eclipse, which is a very strong time astrologically, very impactful time. And at that time they were begging Krishna that please come back. The gopis, they were saying that Shri Krishna, we've been waiting for you for so long. Imagine, Krishna left just in his early teenage years when he was very, very young. He went from Vrindavan, then he went to Mathura. So at least they were like, okay, he's not so far. And then for around 100 and something years of his life, he was in Dwarka. So he was hiding from them. And he didn't come back. And once he even teased them, he said Uddhava. And then they thought Krishna came, and then they saw Uddhava. They became even more sad. So the Vijayavasis were very, very sad that we cannot see Krishna. He promised he would come back. He never came back. And they were all completely intoxicated in love with him. Generally, when we see love in this world, did anyone, most of you are above at least age 18, so anybody had a childhood crush that they now completely forgot about? Anybody had? When you were at school, something like that? So many of you have had. We don't admit it, but we don't. Because we know the nature of this world. Srimad Bhagavatam explains that Pumsa Striya Mituni Bhav, that the most strong attachment is this attachment between male and female. Well, now in Kali Yuga, everyone, all 31 genders, so we can say that sexual attraction is very strong. But it actually is, in one sense, Maya is very strong, but in one sense she is very merciful, because even if she attacks us, it's only temporary, so she always lets it go after some time. So we may have a crush on someone, and then after one year we forget about them, we don't even think about them anymore. But imagine, the Vijayavasis, they were in love with Krishna, in all the 5 types of love, 4 types of love, but on top of that, they never forgot him for 100 years, and all they could do was think about him 24/7. Imagine if you had a material crush, and you couldn't think about them till the day you were on your deathbed, and you still didn't think about them, and then you died thinking about them. What kind of a misfortune would that be, right? And even you're married to someone else, but you still think of your crush when you were 10 years old. So, but that's what the gopis were feeling their whole life. They were already married to someone else. They already had a family, they already had duties, but the whole time, the main thing they were thinking of is when will I see Krishna again? And they were always thinking of the beautiful leelas which he did. So they waited so long, and now they're like, wow, we've seen you again here in Kurukshetra. Please at least come back for some time to Vrindavan. You promised us you'd come back. So then how they pulled him back? They pulled him back in their heart. So this is what Lord Chaitanya came to teach, that there are many forms of love of God, there's many forms of bhakti, but the highest form of prema is what is called Vipralamba Bhava, or Vipralamba Seva, which means to serve the Lord in separation. And why is it? Because when you're with somebody, sometimes we also take them for granted, right? Just like all 4 of my grandparents have left the planet, and many, many times I regret I didn't spend enough time with them. But it's too late, right? Or maybe some of you are older, maybe even a parent has passed away, or a cousin or uncle, and we may regret that, I never really did this with them, I never asked them this question. Like, I was thinking I should have asked my grandparents about their parents, but I never really asked them about it. Anyone done that? To find out about your great-grandparents? It's a very interesting topic, right? But many of us have no idea who our great-grandparents were. I just know the name of one of my great-grandparents, that's it. So, when you're with somebody, you take them for granted. The amount of time I spend with my maternal grandfather is like maybe I'm with him like 50, 60 days of the year since I was a child. But then I hardly took advantage of that, right? So then you regret it later on. So imagine, even in this world, when we're with people, we take them for granted. But imagine, God is so great that it's very, very easy to take Him for granted, because He has unlimited glories. He has unlimited stories to tell you. He has unlimited ways of expressing love to you. So many things. So it's very easy to take the Lord for granted. But when the Lord is not physically manifest in front of you, then we remember, oh, the Lord is gone. And you start to even more intensely remember Him and be eager for the Lord's presence again. So this is the mood which Lord Chaitanya is showing, that although being in the mood of a gopi is very high, is very great. From all the four principal active relationships, or formality, friendship, parental relationship, the highest is considered to be, especially in terms of sweetness and attachment, in terms of rag, is this relationship of the gopis with Krishna. But even higher than active physical relationship, face to face with Krishna, dancing with Krishna, is when Krishna disappears, then you miss Him and the intensity is even stronger. So this is why Lord Chaitanya, He came, and this is why He emphasized so much this Jagannath Ratha Yatra festival. That we are trying to develop this internal, spontaneous, loving relationship with the Lord. Bhakti Yoga is not about simply doing sadhana, simply chanting such a number of rounds. Just like there's one devotee in Crawley, he actually left Crawley now. So he was working in IT. I think his brother is here in the room. So we made a joke, we said that when you chant, because he works in IT, so he's always thinking about gigabytes, RAM, and hard drives, and SSDs, all of these things. So we're saying that when you chant, you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Ram, 50 GB RAM, 60 GB RAM. So Bhakti is not about just external sadhana. Bhakti is actually about Siddha sadhaka rupena, Siddha rupena chatrahi. That externally we are cultivating this form of a sadhaka. Just like the 6 Goswamis. On the external platform, they were all males, right? But we know they're all gopis. So the 6 Goswamis externally, they're doing the sadhaka rupena, but Siddha rupena chatrahi. But at the same time, they're cultivating internally the devotional mood as a loving relationship, as a gopi, as a manjari with the Lord. So Rath Yatra is not just, I want to dance and my karma goes, or I want to develop more bhakti, chant more rounds, more taste for reading Bhagavatam, but we're actually cultivating internally this mood that we want to go in the spiritual world and serve Krishna in a specific form. So this is a very deep festival, Jagannath Rath Yatra. Because by worshipping Jagannath in this mood of Vipralamba Seva, then we're not only we are choosing what rasa, but we're choosing what specific mood in that rasa we're worshipping the Lord. So that is a very deep thing. So therefore we can understand some of the... It's a very short class. We can talk 10 hours about Rath Yatra. But because of time, I will end now. So this is the main point. That not only are we having external reasons for attending Rath Yatra, we want to share Jagannath with others. We want to help others advance in their spiritual life. We want to go from the platform of Antagadam Papam, clearing our karma and developing bhakti and maturing that to the point of prema. But we're also... Externally we are doing our sadhana, our chanting and dancing, and internally we are cultivating, that we were meditating, that we want to serve the Lord in the way which Lord Chaitanya showed. That Gopi Bhartur Pada Kamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. That we want to be the servant of the gopis who are worshipping the Lord. So we can end it on this last point. Actually, I didn't tell the story in Dwarka. Do we have time? Very quickly. I forgot to. I just wrote it down, but I never said it. So very quickly, the reason why Jagannath has, there are different reasons. This is one of the stories. Why he has this ecstasy form. Everyone heard this story already about Jagannath in Dwarka? Some of you, okay, not all of you. I gave a class in Canada recently, everyone knew, so I just changed the topic. But because you don't know, I'll share it very briefly. So, as you know, Lord Krishna spent the majority of his life in Dwarka. So Modi will be very happy to know that. All our Gujaratis in the house. So most of his life he liked Gujarat more than UP. So, but his heart was always in Vrindavan. So it's like a catch-22, you know. So Krishna didn't really have much opportunity to meditate and talk about with the queens of Dwarka about his pastimes in Vrindavan, because they were so deep and so personal to him that they would evoke very, very strong emotion. That's why Lord Chaitanya, he couldn't sing the name of Jagannath, as we heard in Prabhupada's quote. His voice would choke up. So once Krishna noticed that all of my 16,108 queens, they're all gone at the same time. He's like, it's very strange. Normally one may go and fetch something, pick some flowers, go and help somebody in someone's house, something they may be doing. But all of them had disappeared at the same time. So very short summary is that they were all in one of the meeting rooms. And one of the mothers from Vrindavan was also present in Dwarka, which was Rohini. So she was explaining to them, the queens of Dwarka, about the pastimes of Lord Krishna as a child. All of the demons he killed, all of the mischief he did, and how he used to dance so amazingly, play the flute and people would faint, so many things. And Krishna, Balram and Subhadra all were very confused. Where are they? So one by one they all came to hear by the meeting hall and put their ear against the door, and they were hearing. And as soon as they heard this narration of this Leela, then they all started to go into ecstasy. So one of them heard, then their eyes started getting bigger and bigger, and their lips started protruding like this, and it happened to both Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. So this is one of the, especially Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we take this story that why Jagannath is in this form of ecstasy with great big eyes, because he was envisioning after so many years the Leela which he used to do as a child. So this is the reason he has that. So now we can end that there is a last very beautiful point which Krishna says, that he says that Naham Tishtami Vaikunte Yoginam Hridayeshuva Yatra Gayanti Mat Bhakta Tatra Tishtami Narada. That is explained to Narada Muni that he's not so much worried about being present in Vaikuntha. Generally, we are mainly focused on being at home, right? Like when we're at work, we're like, I can't wait to go home, right? Even we go on holiday, sometimes we say, oh, I miss my bed at home. But the Lord, he doesn't even care to be in Vaikuntha. He says, I don't need to be in Vaikuntha. Not only that, but there are many amazing people in the planet who are doing meditation for thousands of years, meditating on the Lord. What is called Ishvara Pranidhana in the Yoga Sutra philosophy. So they're meditating for thousands of years so perfectly, so amazingly, that the Lord becomes very impressed. So he manifests as Paramatma in their vision. He's already there, but he manifests, the Paramatma manifests to their vision. The Lord says, even that I do not care about so much. But he says, wherever my devotees are chanting my name in ecstasy, that is where I'm present. So how do we invoke Jagannath's presence in Rath Yatra? Although he's there in the deity, the way to bring him into everyone's heart and in all of our minds and our forefront of our consciousness is to chant and dance in ecstasy at Rath Yatra. So all of the boys dance nicely, yeah? In Gora Arati. So we want to see that on the street, yeah? So thank you very much. Jagannath Swami ki Jai. ISKCON Crawley Yatra ki
Jai.
So time is up, but maybe one question only. If there is one question. We're a little bit over 5 minutes, but hopefully nobody minds. Let's go.
I've heard that like in the Jagannath deity, that Krishna's heart's been transferred. I don't know if that's bona fide or not. I'll just like double check.
Yes, there is I think it's every 10 years. I don't know the amount of years. 12 years. So I can give you one link. There's a whole article. Do you know this magazine by Govinda Maharaj's disciples? It's called, what is it called, the magazine? Yeah. So there is one magazine on that. I have the PDF on my laptop. If you message me, I can send you. But yeah, there is a whole system how Jagannath is worshipped. I'm not specialized in that topic, unfortunately. Have to study that one day. But yeah, they change the deity every 12 years. And in that there is a ceremony to transfer Jagannath to another. But I cannot talk too much about that, unfortunately. But I have the PDF, so if you message me, I can give it to you. I read it, but it was like 10 years ago, so I forgot all the details. So, thank you very much. Anything else?
Sorry, it's a quick one. I didn't get the internal reason.
So, the internal reason for Jagannath Rath Yatra is that Lord Chaitanya, especially, he came to teach us this mood of love in separation. So, when the Vrijavasis, they came to Dwarka, and Krishna came, they came to Kurukshetra, and the Dwarka Vasis, they came to Kurukshetra in the eclipse. They were worshipping Krishna for many, many decades in love of separation from Krishna. So they wanted to pull Krishna back. So they kept him in the heart and they pulled him back to Vrindavan. So the internal reason is that we are trying to develop this mood of love in separation which the gopis have for Krishna. Because not only is the gopis' love the sweetest and the most intense, but within all those types of ways the gopis worship, just like you have assistants to the gopis, right? Just like one of our Pandava Sena leaders called Manjari, right? So you have Manjaris, you have Sakhis, so different types of assistants. So they get even more ecstasy than Radharani, because Radharani empowers them to serve. But even more than that is the love in separation, which the gopis feel. So that is the internal mood, especially what is taught by Lord Chaitanya. There's different Vaishnavas have different understanding, but this is especially our rasa with Krishna.
Thank you.
So I think we'll end there because time is gone. So thank you very much, and we'll see you for Rath Yatra. Jagannath Swami.